After more than half a century in the spotlight, Barry Gibb is now speaking out. Finally, the final surviving BG is speaking out about his friendship with Paul McCartney. The story debunks long-held myths, substitutes respect for rivalry, and offers a unique glimpse into the personal lives of two of the most well-known figures in music. At the age of 78, Barry Gibb finally comes clean about Paul McCartney. On September 1, 1946, Barry Alan Crompton Gibb was born in Douglas, Isle of Man. He and his brothers Robin and Maurice were pushed to pursue music from an early age by Hugh and Barbara Gibb, who recognized his talent at an early age. This encouraging environment paved the way for a remarkable career spanning over 60 years and encompassing pop, rock, dance, and R&B music genres. After relocating from the Isle of Man to Manchester, England, the Gibb family later settled in Brisbane, Australia. This marked the modest beginning of Barry's journey. That's where Barry formed the Bee Gees with his brothers. Hit songs, distinctive harmonies, and a significant cultural impact would all be associated with their name. The band went from being a talented Australian outfit to a global star in the mid-1960s because to Barry's songwriting and leadership. The Bee Gees had already established themselves in musical history by the late 1960s and early 1970s because to their heartfelt songs like Massachusetts and To Love Somebody. These songs demonstrated Barry's ability to compose music and write lyrics. By contrast, the 1970s influenced Barry Gibb's life and influence. Under his artistic leadership, the Bee Gees adapted their sound to the evolving disco landscape. In addition to topping international charts, their songs from the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, such as Stayin' Alive, Night Fever, and How Deep Is Your Love, also served as cultural icons that shaped a generation. Barry's falsetto vocals were instantly recognizable, influencing many other musicians and changing the direction of popular music. Through his work with the Bee Gees, who garnered Grammy Awards, multi-platinum sales, and a permanent place in music history, Barry established himself as a terrific performer and prolific lyricist. Barry was a talented songwriter for numerous bands in addition to the Bee Gees. They had successes written or co-written by a variety of artists, such as Barbra Streisand, Woman in Love, Diana Ross, Chain Reaction, Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton, Islands in the Stream, and Celine Dion, Immortality. His ability to create everlasting melodies and words that resonate with people demonstrates his profound comprehension of human emotion and music. With almost 1,000 songs composed or co-written, he is among the most well-known and well-liked songwriters of all time. However, Barry Gibb's tale goes beyond simply becoming a chart-topping artist. It's also a tale of enduring love, strength, and dedication to family. During the disco deconstruction era, the Bee Gees faced both personal and professional challenges, including shifting musical preferences, bad press, and the untimely deaths of Barry's brothers, Robin in 2012, Maurice in 2003, and Andy in 1988. For Barry, each death was a tremendous loss. Nonetheless, he carried on the Bee Gees' name with dignity and modesty, continuing to honor their memory through his music. His solo work, such as the 2016 album In the Now, demonstrates his passion of songwriting and his depth as an artist who has experienced love, sorrow, and beginning over. Over the years, Barry Gibb has received numerous accolades and distinctions, including induction into the Songwriters Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II in 2018 for his charitable and musical endeavors. These accolades are impressive, but they don't even begin to capture the extent of his impact on the music industry and the lives of fans worldwide. Barry Gibb's life serves as evidence that music has the power to unite individuals from all walks of life. His songs have been played on numerous romantic, depressing, and joyful occasions. Whether it's through the poignant, intimate emotion of Words, the infectious beats of You Should Be Dancing, or the bittersweet sweetness of Bittersweet. The magnificence of Too Much Heaven is a gift from Barry to the world of music that transcends time and genre. In addition to the songs he sold and the accolades he received, he will be remembered for the impact he had on millions of people. Throughout his personal life, Barry Gibb has been married for a long period and had early romances. His first marriage occurred when he was just 19 years old, which is still considered to be quite young. when the Bee Gees were at the height of their early success on August 22, 1966. In the UK, he married Maureen Bates. At the time, he knew her as a young lady. However, this union was short-lived. They were married for a brief period of time, despite initially living together. The relationship might have been strained by Gibb's need to constantly tour, record, and be in the spotlight due to his burgeoning music career. After a brief period of cohabitation, the couple split up. They became estranged and divorced in July 1970, less than 4 years after their marriage. In order to provide space for a much longer-lasting relationship that would shortly start, Gibb's early romantic life ended quietly. Barry Gibb's celebrity continued to rise during this period, and as a result of his work, he frequently encountered other celebrities. While taping an episode of the renowned BBC music show Top of the Pops in London, Gibb got to know Linda Gray, the lady who would transform his life. One of the most significant pop music programs in Britain at the time was Top of the Pops. Gray was a stunning and elegant woman who became well known in British society after being named Miss Edinburgh. Their fortuitous encounter took place in a setting that felt almost like a scene from a movie, complete with lights, music, and the vibrancy of the late 1960s pop culture milieu. They decided to get married within a few months after their relationship blossomed. September 1, 1970, was Barry Gibb's 24th birthday. It was also the couple's wedding day, thus it was a memorable day. It would turn out to be one of the longest marriages in the entertainment industry. It demonstrates their profound emotional bond, mutual respect, and similar ideals. Over the years, Barry and Linda created a solid family. Stephen, Ashley, Travis, Michael, and Alexandra are their 5 children. Stephen Thaddeus Crompton Gibb was born in 1973 and was the older son. He would follow in his father's footsteps as a vocalist. The family grew even larger as their children grew up and had their own families. Another aspect of Gibb's illustrious career that he enjoys is being a grandfather to 7 grandchildren. Despite maintaining their British identity, the Gibbs' lives and careers gradually shifted to the United States, particularly in Miami, Florida, where Barry established a residence and recording studio. In 2009, Barry and Linda Gibb took a significant step by obtaining U.S. citizenship. They have spent decades living and working in America. They took the significant choice to maintain their UK citizenship, demonstrating that even though they have completely embraced their new nation, they will always feel a connection to their British roots. This decision demonstrated their respect for the opportunities and experiences they had in both nations, in addition to their professional and personal ties to them. Enjoyed every one of them. During a candid and intimate interview with The Mirror on July 11, 2014, Barbara Gibb discussed his odd and peculiar bond with Michael Jackson. When Jackson was at the height of his celebrity and wanted to escape the pressures of public life, Gibb recalled that he would occasionally take a plane to Miami and stay at Gibb's family home. Jackson wanted to avoid the spotlight and took solace in Barry's house, which was a long distance from the clamor of yelling fans and incessant cameras. By describing how the singer would sit with him in the kitchen and watch TV news reports about the admirers assembling outside Jackson's hotel, Gibb painted a clear image of Jackson's peculiar sense of humor. He would chuckle to himself and mimic his well-known hee-hee sound. The gatherings were highly innovative in addition to being social. Jackson also spent some time living upstairs in Gibb's home, just before his well-publicized trial for child molestation began. Gibb said they never discussed Jackson's severe legal issues, even though they may have come up in conversation. Rather, they wanted their time together to be drama-free and centered on their shared passion of creating music. They would spend hours creating songs, brainstorming musical ideas, and occasionally enjoying a few drinks. Gibb grinned and added that although Michael was known for being quite clean, he did enjoy alcohol. In the safety of his friend's home, he added, the king of pop would occasionally just doze off on the floor. Gibb was genuinely upset that Jackson was no longer in his life as he reflected on those moments. He claimed to miss Jackson and cherish the recollections of their carefree, uncomplicated moments together. Both these very intimate connections and the places Barry Gibb has lived have influenced his life. Since the Bee Gees relocated their operations to Miami in 1974 in order to be near the growing American music industry, his primary residence has been in the United States. In fact, he has a house in the UK. When Gibb purchased the renowned Hendersonville, Tennessee, home of the late country music icons Johnny Cash and June Carter Cash in January 2006, it was evident that he loved the United States. For Gibb, this meant more than simply purchasing a home. It was an opportunity to preserve and pay tribute to the creations of two artists he greatly respected. He aimed to restore the property to its former splendor and provide a space where musicians might compose music, reflect, and draw inspiration from the history included into the structure. It's unfortunate that the concept never developed as planned. During renovations, the house was completely destroyed by fire on April 10, 2007. What once stood there is now nothing but ashes, a landmark in the history of music. Despite the sadness of losing the old house, a new one was eventually constructed there as a symbol of strength and a respect to it. Gibb owned the house for a few more years until selling it in 2014. This put an end to a phase of his creative and personal journey that had been both inspirational and depressing. The 78-year-old Sir Barry Gibb, the final surviving member of the well-known Bee Gees, has reached a stage in his life and profession where he is able to ponder about things without actually doing so. He has a knowledgeable and honest perspective that has been shaped by years of creative success, personal hardships, and the passing of time. For years, media and fans have speculated about his association with Sir Paul McCartney, a major figure in popular culture and a titan of the music industry. Despite the fact that both men are enormous, they occasionally cross paths in public at charity events, award shows, or locations where people can record together. However, Gibb hasn't gone into great detail about McCartney. When he did talk, it was usually brief, courteous, and encapsulated in the cautious etiquette that comes with being in the entertainment industry. As he gets older, Gibb is less under pressure to hide every opinion or to present stories in the polished manner that the public relations department prefers. A while back, his voice carried in the talk the weight of truth and the warmth of long-held recollections that only comes from years of life. In addition to being one of the greatest songwriters of all time, he claimed that McCartney had an unrelenting work ethic and a creative vision so lofty that even other well-known individuals found it difficult to approach them. Gibb claimed that during the Bee Gees' formative years, the Beatles, particularly McCartney, were both an inspiration and a frightening benchmark. The Beatles were out there changing the rules of music every couple of months, Gibb stated. We were trying to make our own mark. You needed to listen to it. All you could do was stare in disbelief. He went on to say that McCartney had always been generous with his time, polite, and genuinely interested in the backstage work of other musicians. Gibb described a night in London in the late 1970s, when the Bee Gees were at the height of their disco popularity. McCartney had visited a workplace. She only wanted to listen, laugh, and discuss songwriting. She didn't want to make a huge entrance. With a smile, Gibb remarked, that night it wasn't about egos. Two guys who loved music got together in a room and talked about chord changes, melodies, and why some songs just work. By telling these tales, Gibb dispelled the long-held misconception that the Beatles and the Bee Gees were enemies or at strife. He concurred that given that both bands were British, emphasized harmony, and achieved great success, it was only logical that they would be compared. The reality, however, was warmer and more easier. Celebrity comes with stress, and people who have experienced both its highs and lows admire one another. Those who had experienced both shared an unspoken bond. For Barry Gibb to discuss it now, it's not only about correcting the record, it's also about honoring a fellow artist while he can. You don't want to leave things unsaid when you get to be my age, he believed. Paul has played a significant role in my life, and I hope that we have played a minor role in his as well. He's genuine and kind, and that's all I want people to know. He is still a very good bass player. By choosing this time to be completely honest, Gibb has allowed fans to get a close-up look at a friendship that was built on a shared past, respect for one another, and a profound, enduring affection for one another rather than by living close to one another. How to compose music.